Welcome to Backstreet Gossip, news talk, current events, and political commentary with your host, Uncle Ronnie. And now here's your host, Uncle Ronnie.
Well, hello, everybody. Do you remember it was only a few short months ago we were saying, here we are in steamy hot Arizona.
And it was hot, but
And
the
it was
times
hot.
have changed.
And now my co-host here, Mr. Ray Michaels, and we're shivering. We had a rainy day.
Rainy and some sleet and even some snow.
Well, the mountains all around the valley have snow on them.
I know.
Which is very unusual. It happens maybe once every 2 or 3
You know how
years.
expensive that was for our new president to actually
Put snow on the mountains?
snow on the mountains? Yeah.
Oh, boy,
Here in
I'll tell
Arizona.
you. And the bottom line here, ladies and gentlemen, I hate to tell you this, but most of our guests tonight live up in the mountains, and they couldn't get down here tonight. So
Well, they're trying. They're still trying.
well, I offered
they have the chains on
Dr.
and-
Rapaki some water skis. And he says, well,
maybe
why
snow skis
water
would have been
skis?
a
I
little
need
bit-
snow skis. I said, I don't have snow skis. I only have water skis. So he said he didn't think he'd like to try that.
But so much to talk about. Oh, my
There
gosh,
is
this last week.
This has been, first of all, I just want to tell everybody, I want you all to subscribe to this show, okay?
You
Hit
mean they
that
haven't?
subscribe button. I think they all have, but
I think they should.
subscribe,
Yeah.
subscribe. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do. Now, we have done a lot of very special things lately, Ray, as you know, and we put them together, and Sue has put them together, and we've sent them out, and we have had hundreds of thousands of views, which you don't see on here, but we've sent it out through other mediums, and we've had, gosh, I think, was it Liz Harris? We had like 170,000 views.
Yes, and Liz is Liz wanted to be here tonight.
Yes, and
I saw Liz on Saturday, as you did.
she's very, very busy woman.
She's busy. Yes, I think she has another speaking engagement.
Well, because of all of the work she's done, everybody's wanting to know what's going on here in
She is
Arizona
a trooper, and she won a special award just last Saturday.
for being a trooper.
Yeah,
Yep, she was one of our
a super trooper.
a super
I think
trooper.
Alba gave her that
And she
award.
was a
didn't she?
super duper trooper. At any rate, no, she's just a really hard working gal, and I'll tell you, she is an American and an Arizonan through and through.
And a true patriot, I'll tell you that right now.
Yes,
She was
none of-
instrumental in making sure that the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors, that they got the information that they needed to make a decision that they should have made several weeks ago, but they decided to go up against the state legislature. You've been hearing all of this. I don't get it. As an elected official, you serve the public. You don't self-serve, and you certainly don't serve the government. You serve the people.
Well, we're going to talk a little later about what Dr. Rapaki was going to talk about, and it's really, really interesting, and you're going to really enjoy listening to what we have to say. We don't have all the details that he would have had, but we've got enough information that you're going to stand by, and you're going to be really excited about this.
Is that a tease?
That was called the tease.
Yeah, that is a
yeah,
tease.
It is.
Stick around.
So stick around, folks.
Yeah, you don't want to miss it.
At any rate, Ray, we of course we have our one of our staff here. Neil has been not well lately, and we don't.
I never thought that he was well, ever. So
Well, any rate, he's not healthy enough to be here tonight. Let's put it that way, and of course we are, and we were at what was they call it, a super spreader Saturday.
it was pretty incredible. It was the AZGOP state convention, a yearly convention that we have.
And we elect our officers, or
do.
some of them. We do it every other year. So this time it was the chairman of the party,
Right?
it was the treasurer, and the secretary.
That's right. And the at-large for each one of the congressional districts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of an interesting. We'd like to report a little bit about this. We had, as in any political group, and I want to say this, so that everybody understands this. A lot of people keep saying, why do Republicans always fight? And, they do, right?
Well, why do Democrats always fight?
And they do too.
Yeah,
But
why do families always
The
fight?
Republican Party in Arizona isn't just made up of people, it is a corporation. And we have a chairman, and we have a board, and we have members that attend the, if you will, it's a board meeting, an annual board meeting. Now, to this, we select our officers. And this year we had Kelly Ward, who had been our chairman, and she was running for re-election. And then we had
Bob Lettieri.
Bob Lettieri, and we
Yes.
had him on the show, and we put a bunch of things out for Bob Lettieri. He had been, by golly, he's an accountant.
He was the treasurer.
And he was a treasurer for
Yeah.
4 years, and he brought this party out of the depths of non-compliance with rules. And I'm not saying it was purposeful, but accounting in corporations is very succinct, especially political.
Well, you're an
corporations.
accountant, and some people that just love numbers.
I'm recovering
They they love the numbers. They love balancing things, and people like me, people like Suzanne, who co-hosts sometimes on here, Eric Winook. We're not necessarily the numbers person. We need somebody like you.
Not
a
me.
professional to go in there and make the numbers work. So a lot of people who are in a position, a front position, like a chairperson, their focus really isn't on the numbers. That's why we have a treasurer who that's all that they do. They focus on that. They're really not out front, and they give monthly reports and yearly reports as
And
well.
Ray, accountants are a different type of person. We're also quiet. You've
You are
noticed-
quiet. Not a big sense of humor.
You notice how soft my voice is?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm an accountant.
Almost crying. That's how soft it is.
But no, seriously, we've had to do a bit of work with Bob to get him to come out of that and become more demonstrative. And he was a great candidate. And we had another one, Sergio Ariendo.
I think so. Bless you.
Hope I'm pronouncing. Bless me. And he's down in Pima County, which is Tucson, Arizona. Another good man. Served in the United States Army, and
Yes.
what a wonderful
A lot of
guy.
respect for people who serve our country.
And then we had one other candidate, and that was a lady that I don't even know her name because she was so new. She came from out of state, and she came in. She decided to run for chairman, which I found rather strange. She had a lot of good ideas, but I find it rather strange for somebody to be in the state for less than a year and then want to be the chairman of the party.
Yeah, that's a pretty big leap.
It is.
You could always start off as a secretary or treasurer or an at-large position, but when you jump right into a chairperson position, that's a pretty big leap.
It is. And this particular election was a little contentious. And the reason why, Ray, is that, first of all, the state went for Biden, and we lost a Senate seat, and we lost some very prime candidates, as you know, in the House
Yeah.
and the Senate. You were one of them, and you should have won, as should Susan Schartzer. And several others, and we didn't. So it's rather strange to reelect a person who has a record that is not stellar in terms of winning. So we had all of this going on Saturday, and then we had some real excitement. So let me tell you a little bit about what it is. When somebody is nominated, they can give a 3-minute speech. And so the various candidates were giving a 3-minute speech, and when it came time to the chairperson that had been here, that's Kelly Ward, she took more than her 3 minutes.
Well, now, in all fairness, she was chair, so she has to run the meetings. And I believe that every other candidate, including Bob, including Sergio, they all went over in time. And apparently, Tyler Bauer, who was assisting the chairperson, they all talked back behind the scenes. Now, we were not privy to this out front, but they talked back and they said, look, Chairman Ward has a special pre-recorded message from the president. She's going to be going a little bit over. Is it okay? And apparently all four of them agreed behind the scenes, not knowing to us.
Well, that's not what I heard, but that's, you'll always hear these kinds of things when you have winners and
well, that's
losers.
what actually Tyler mentioned on stage. That's what he said.
And then, Bob Lettieri only went over by 15 or 16 seconds. She went over by all over a minute, and then with the president's message, there were another couple. She took over 6 minutes, where everybody else only got 3 minutes. But that's not the big excitement. I didn't quite agree with the way that was handled. But the real excitement was when we got into the, I guess it was the treasurer. We had somebody stand up there and go up on stage to nominate someone who was not a state committeeman. And that was Daniel McCarthy, who was a very controversial figure. One, he has talked about leaving the Republican Party and starting his own party. He got up
Which
there.
I believe he has. He has done that.
He may have done that already. He got up there and he started to give a speech when he was not authorized to do so. He was a guest and not a delegate.
I think a lot of people forget. You had mentioned that it's more like a corporation. I would say it's more like a corporate structure because it's not actually a corporation. So when you have business to do, you have an agenda, and the agenda has gone through committee. Exactly, here's what we're going to be doing at certain times. And it's, I'm a state committeeman, you're a state committeeman. We have to be elected to that position.
Yes.
You have to be elected as a PC, and then you have to be elected as a state committeeman. Now, you can also appear as a guest, which is what I did last year at the convention. I was just a guest. So you're there more to observe, not really to participate,
yes,
but just to observe. So I think what was happening is this was not on the agenda. It didn't go through any committee, and he was a guest, which he didn't have really any rights, even though he was invited.
And
he didn't have a right.
He should have been in the balcony where the guests were supposed to be.
Right.
But he came down, got on stage, and took the microphone, and then started to address the crowd.
But you know what? This isn't new. If you remember last year,
I remember
the
a lot of the
exact
years.
same thing happened. Daniel McCarthy, I've talked to him many, many times. He seems like a really nice person, nice family guy. I know he's done well for himself in business, but he feels that the Republican Party as a whole has done him wrong and that he wasn't represented as he should have been. And so he made decisions during his campaign against Martha McSally, Senator McSally, that he wanted to go in a certain direction. Now, he did lose the primary to her, which I thought the best course of action should be you go to her and you say, hey, we did a great race. I still have a lot of good ideas. I would like you to bring me into your inner circle so that we can work together. Our goal is to elect a Republican. He chose not to do that and to go off and create his own party, which they did. So once you make that decision, you really have severed ties with the Republican Party. I mean, there's really no unification there. There's no, well, I still want to be part of it. So I thought it was very inappropriate that he came in unannounced to the committee, to the body. It was just kind of an arbitrary thing. Hey, I think we'll let this guy talk. And a lot of people were upset. I don't blame them. I wasn't upset, but I don't blame them.
Well,
that
there
they
were a lot
upset.
of boos and hissing and take him out and so forth and so on,
Yeah.
which they should have done. They should not have had him speak. And I thought Kelly was incorrect when she went through and said, oh, we're the party of free speech. Yeah, we are. We're also the party of law and order.
Yeah, and I think she took that back as well.
The rules were such that he was not allowed to speak there, and it created a lot of disturbance. Speaking of disturbance, we have a disturbance on this line. Somebody's playing a guitar.
We got to pay the bill.
So anyway, somebody's playing a guitar. I don't see who does that. I don't know. But somebody's
Sounds
doing
like
a nice
Eric Clapton.
job. Yeah. It's Eric Clapton? All right. At any rate, we will see you on the other side. Don't go away.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back. It is Ray Michaels from Street Talk. We are here on Trump Fridays, and I have our very, very special guest. Now, you come out here to El Capo, it's got some amazing food, but it all happens because of this man right here. This is James. He is the owner here. James, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Well, James, I'll tell you what, everybody loves coming here, and your pizza is spectacular.
Oh, thank you very much. It's very nice to hear.
Well, I'll tell you, is it a special recipe? I got to know.
Yes, it is a special recipe. Everyone says that water is the big deal why you can't get good New York style pizza in Arizona. So we actually have a secret ingredient where we use beer. My family actually owns a State 48 brewery, so I actually use their beer in our dough recipe.
Well, that works out pretty good. So you have a whole family in the restaurant industry.
Yes, I do.
Well, James, thank you so much for joining us here. Don't forget El Capo, you got to come out. Trump Fridays happens every single Friday right here on Scottsdale Road and Shea. I'm Ray Michaels. We'll see you real soon.
In a world where security matters more than ever, Lionheart Security Services stands head and shoulders above the competition. Whether it's airport security, high-rise residential and office security, event security, warehouse security, or even personal security, call the best of the best. Lionheart Security Services. We provide armed and unarmed officers. Our armed officers are held to the strictest standards of 90% accuracy, 20% higher than Arizona standards. When it comes to securing you, your goods, and services. Call Lionheart Security Services, 480-485-2304, or find them on the web at lionheartsecurityservices.com.
Well, we got through the Medicare annual enrollment period in the fall, and we got through the holidays as well. Hi, I'm Peter Martin, Senior Planning Advisor. I hope that everyone had a wonderful holiday season. With the new year upon us, you may be wondering whether you made the right choice of Advantage plan for 2021. It's okay, not a problem. I'll conduct a complimentary review of your plan for you. And should a change be advisable, we've been given a 2021 open enrollment period within which we can still switch plans. But don't wait too long. This open enrollment period will not last forever. I look forward to hearing from you.
You are truly an amazing woman. Tell us the name of your company.
It's Janet King, DBA M&R Janet King. I've been doing this for 18 years, and I have 70 employees working for me. I do commercial cleaning. If you guys need any commercial cleaning.
Yeah, you're here in the Valley.
I'm here in the Valley. I work in Chandler, Tempe, Mesa, Phoenix, everywhere. And now after coronavirus and March 18, 20, I'm doing fogging and completely total disinfecting of any facility. You have an active case in your facility, call me, I'll take care of you.
So you take care of homes, it could be adult living, anything like that.
Anything that you need a total disinfecting. I have the equipment, I have the people, and whatever you need. Let's kill this virus.
All right, so what's the website?
It's marthayamas.com. Go to my website, and then you'll see everything I do and, everything about me.
All right, spell out your last name for all of our viewing audience.
I start with my name, martha.LLAMAS.com. That's where you go.
And how do they reach you by telephone?
My phone number is 480-577-9574.
Q Talent. I guess that's us.
Did you see the sign?
I didn't know
Q
that we
Talent,
were-
Q Talent.
He says cue talent. We're talentless talent, I guess. So at any rate, here we are back, and we're
I thought
having
he said the Talons and
yeah,
come out to...
talents. We're having a good time here in rainy Phoenix, Arizona, and
It is a little wet, but
Snowy.
considering our summer where we had
Oh.
no rain at all, no monsoons, no haboobs or whatever they call them now.
Who's
I call
boobs?
them. I call them just.
okay, we'll leave that one alone. That'll only get us
They're
in trouble.
monsoons. You can call them whatever.
So
you
at
want.
any rate,
But now we get some rain.
Yeah.
Thank goodness we
But
got
the
some
bottom
rain.
line, if any of you want to see what happened Saturday, go to Right Side Broadcasting on YouTube, and they had been there and they recorded much of the meeting. And then, of course, in the afternoon there were some sessions. They left to get on an airplane and moving right along. And there was another thing that happened there that some people liked, some people didn't like, and it was a big fight, as you know. And that was whether to censor Cindy McCain, Jeff Flake, and who was the other one?
And Governor Ducey.
And the governor, yes. And
Now, tell everybody at home, what does that actually mean when it comes from the AZGOP at the state convention? What does that actually mean to censor?
well, it's a little difficult to really try to explain, since you can only really censor members of your group. You can't really censor anybody that's outside your
Well,
group.
you're just calling them out.
Yeah,
It doesn't mean anything.
what
It doesn't
happens-
affect them in any way.
Cindy McCain, John McCain had been censored many years ago, and she came out as the wife of at that time, the leading, predominant senator.
And I think the Republican nominee for president.
Yeah, and she attacked the president of the United States, and she supported Biden, which was something you don't do when you're a Republican. You need to stay faithful to the party that you belong to and you believe in. Then, of course, Jeff Flake was the same way. He just became
Jeff who?
Yeah, Flake. He did the same thing. He come out. He didn't like the president, and so he came out and he said bad things and to vote for Biden. Governor Ducey's a little different in that nobody liked the way he has handled COVID in the state of Arizona. He tried to take the middle ground. He's tried the conservative approach, and yet have some teeth in it. I think he's probably failed on both causes. Most people didn't like what he did. He really should have called the legislature into session, in my opinion, after 14 days, and let the legislature, because, Ray, the legislature makes the laws in the state. The governor enforces laws. He doesn't make laws.
You can make a suggestion for a short period of time with a distinctive start date and a distinctive end date, but I don't think that the people of Arizona elected him to be a one-man show.
No. And he should have known that. I think he did know that, but really the legislature should have been called into session. There can be no question of that. They make the laws in the state, and if they say you've got to close your shop, it's not an edict from the governor. I know everybody, you've probably heard of this, they call him Lord Ducey. He's making the
I've heard
laws in
this.
the state. No, you can't do that.
Well, self-governance requires great self-restraint. You have to restrain yourself from the power that could go right to your head. We are consent of the governed. Now, I didn't consent to be governed in this fashion. Did you?
No.
All right. Well, right then and there, somebody should say, look, I'm an elected official. I'm here to represent the people of Arizona. It is really not my job to tell you what is best for you or your family.
I want to interrupt here. Ray, I know my legislators. I actually know the governor, but I know my legislators. I know how to get a hold of them. I know where they live. But I can talk to them, and you can talk to yours.
Of course.
And throughout the state, we all have somebody that's close we can talk to that's a legislator. They represent the people. We're the people. Listen to what we say. We don't want to close down our businesses. And you've heard me say this 1,000 times out there. We have Costco. You can buy a lawnmower at Costco even through the pandemic. We have Hans Lawnmower Shop down the street. It was closed. Now,
Doesn't make any sense.
now so the bottom line
why
is
is-
they're selecting who wins and who loses.
Yeah, why is one citizen deemed essential and another one is deemed non-essential? Who
Exactly.
makes that decision?
Exactly.
You know, God gives us all individual rights, individual freedoms,
and quite
individual
frankly,
liberties.
it's up to Hans Lawnmower Shop as to whether he's essential. If he says, "Oh, I have a family. I think this disease is real. I don't want them to get it. I'm going to close my doors."
Right.
And that's
And
his
that-
decision.
That is his decision. You know, and I always give the analogy. Could you imagine 100 years ago, covered wagons ready to leave the Midwest to come out west, and all of a sudden the mayor stands up and says, "No, no, 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 you can't leave. It's too dangerous out there. We can't protect you. There are robbers out there. There are wild animals out there. We can't protect you if you leave. Go back to your homes and sit and wait." What do you think the guy sitting there would do?
It would have been an up yours.
I would have
moment.
heard a hey, you better get out of our way.
We're
We
going
want-
whether you like it or not.
That's right. We're going. You move or we run you over.
And that's where they went wrong. Now, you know, within any particular political entity or any organization, you have to have discipline. And Flake and McCain did not pay attention to the party
Or the people they were
and
representing.
the people they're representing.
Yeah.
And that was what was wrong. And they went their own way. And then when they're Republicans that are saying, "Don't pay any attention to our president, pay attention to the Democrats." I had some mixed emotion over that. I thought, you know, it's probably not good to throw these guys out, but then on the other hand, you have no business doing that.
Now, were
The
you
rules
drinking
are
heavily at the time? Or
No, but if you're representing a political party, represent the party.
You have an R at the end of your name.
Yeah.
For a reason.
Right.
Because people supported you.
And you're not-
And they stood behind you. And they expected that you would stick with the foundational aspects of that party. And when you leave it, you leave the party. It's like leaving your family.
Yeah. Now here's what happened. The bottom line on this thing is, and I heard that Jeff Flake was on many national TV programs saying he would wear that with a badge of honor, being censored by the Republican Party.
Really?
Go ahead. You're never going to be elected to anything, sir. I mean, you can play the bravado all you wish.
What
And
kind
I'm
of a
sorry,
badge of honor is that?
I don't know to say.
Your own party who supported you, who you promised that you would be there for
and
them.
who you represented in the United States Senate, your own party has thrown you out of it.
Wow. What a
mean,
badge of honor.
I don't know how he could say that, but you know, it's just a bravado of it being able to say, "Yeah, you know, it doesn't bother me at all. Look at me, I'm a tough guy." He's done. Cindy McCain, of course, will never run for anything. She couldn't make it as a Republican, certainly, and I doubt she would make it as a Democrat. Remember this: there was a guy named Benedict Arnold one time. And Benedict Arnold was one of the best generals that General Washington had.
He was a chef, wasn't he? Didn't he
No,
come up with
no,
Eggs
no,
Benedict?
no. Yeah, he did
was
the
it
Eggs
him?
Benedict
Yeah.
trick. At any rate, he was a great general. He really was a good general. Then he decided to turn coat, okay? And he went to the British, and the British made him a general and blah, blah, blah. After the war, he moved to England. After we beat the British, he moved to England. Ray, the English didn't want anything to do with the man. Do you know why?
Traitor.
Because he was a traitor.
Yeah.
And most people say, well, if you were a traitor with them, you'll be a traitor with us.
right.
You're just looking for the best deal for yourself, not for us.
Yeah.
And so that was in fact the case. And another thing, you know, and I was telling
Was
some
he
people,
censored by the AZGOP?
Not
Benedict
yet,
Arnold?
but he wasn't a Republican.
Okay.
I think it was an anti-federalist. I don't know. But at any rate, the other thing that a lot of people don't know, and I told people this because some people said, well, we shouldn't do that. And I said, well, let me tell you something about the great general and the very first president and the founder, the guy we look at as the father of America, George Washington. I said when discipline broke down in his army, he had those people that were deserters shot. And not only did
Sometimes
that,
that's what it takes.
and not only that, but if they had brought a number of men with them that were just coming along, he had them do the execution. And I'm thinking, George Washington, the father of our country, did that. You've got to maintain discipline. If you don't have a standard that you believe in, you're willing to stand up for.
You got to stand for something.
Yes. And
I think
what
we
happened
should.
to the guitar player?
I'll tell you, the time goes by so quick. It really does.
I'm waiting for the guitar player. Where did he leave? Anyway, I'm getting the sign by Mr. O'Connor that it's dinner time, but we still got some time to go here. So don't you go away because we're coming right back. Backstreet gossip.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back. It is Ray Michaels from Street Talk. We are here on Trump Fridays, and I have our very, very special guest. Now, you come out here to El Capo, it's got some amazing food, but it all happens because of this man right here. This is James. He is the owner here. James, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Well, James, I'll tell you what, everybody loves coming here, and your pizza is spectacular.
Oh, thank you very much. It's very nice to hear.
Well, I'll tell you, is it a special recipe? I got to know.
Yes, it is a special recipe. Everyone says that water is the big deal why you can't get good New York style pizza in Arizona. So we actually have a secret ingredient where we use beer. My family actually owns a State 48 brewery, so I actually use their beer in our dough recipe.
Well, that works out pretty good. So you have a whole family in the restaurant industry.
Yes, I do.
Well, James, thank you so much for joining us here. Don't forget El Capo, you got to come out. Trump Fridays happens every single Friday right here on Scottsdale Road and Shea. I'm Ray Michaels. We'll see you real soon.
In a world where security matters more than ever, Lionheart Security Services stands head and shoulders above the competition. Whether it's airport security, high-rise residential and office security, event security, warehouse security, or even personal security, call the best of the best. Lionheart Security Services. We provide armed and unarmed officers. Our armed officers are held to the strictest standards of 90% accuracy, 20% higher than Arizona standards. When it comes to securing you, your goods, and services. Call Lionheart Security Services, 480-485-2304, or find them on the web at lionheartsecurityservices.com.
Well, we got through the Medicare annual enrollment period in the fall, and we got through the holidays as well. Hi, I'm Peter Martin, Senior Planning Advisor. I hope that everyone had a wonderful holiday season. With the new year upon us, you may be wondering whether you made the right choice of Advantage plan for 2021. It's okay, not a problem. I'll conduct a complimentary review of your plan for you. And should a change be advisable, we've been given a 2021 open enrollment period within which we can still switch plans. But don't wait too long. This open enrollment period will not last forever. I look forward to hearing from you.
You are truly an amazing woman. Tell us the name of your company.
It's Janet King. Well, DBA M&R Janet King. I've been doing this for 18 years, and I have 70 employees working for me. I do commercial cleaning. If you guys need any commercial
Yeah, you're here in the Valley.
I'm here in the Valley. I work in Chandler, Tempe, Mesa, Phoenix, everywhere. And now after coronavirus and March 1820, I'm doing fogging and completely total disinfecting of any facility. You have an active case in your facility, call me, I'll take care of you.
So you take care of homes, it could be adult living, anything like that.
Anything that you need a total disinfecting. I have the equipment, I have the people, and whatever you need. Let's kill this virus.
All right, so what's the website?
It's marthallamas.com. Go to my website, and then you'll see everything I do and, everything about me.
All right, spell out your last name for all of our viewing audience.
I start with my name, martha.LLAMAS.com. That's where you go.
And how do they reach you by telephone?
My phone number is 480-577-9574.
Oh, we are back. We are back. And you know what? Something just came
Why
out.
don't you just tell them that it's
Something
hilarious?
just came across Fox News. It says President Trump creates office of the former president. He started this in Florida. Can you believe
So
that?
if Biden
That's
could
brilliant.
have an office of the
So
president,
he
he
creates
elects the office of the former
office
president.
of the former president. So that's breaking news here on Hub Radio.
Oh, jeez.
That's great.
At any rate, I wanted to buzz through a lot of different subjects here real quick, Ray, that I happened to jot down. Well, I guess all of our people are still up snowed in because all of our guests have failed to appear tonight, and they all had to come down out of the mountains. And
When you live up in the mountains and you get storms like this,
Well,
especially first of the season, it's going to be tough.
they could ski down.
Not with those water skis you got.
They're just not dedicated. They didn't ski down one of my water skis.
All right,
Okay,
so what do we got?
Well, the first thing that really bothered me, during the inauguration, the military was protecting the whole area there.
The National Guard, yes.
Yes.
How many troops did they have?
Oh, they said 30,000. I can't imagine that.
30,000 troops.
And they only had about 25 guests at the at the inauguration. But the bottom line, Ray, a lot of those soldiers are still there. They were protecting these people against any kind of harm. So now it's time for them, and it's cold there in Washington D.C. I mean, if
A lot of people felt that their life was at risk.
Yeah.
You heard OAC
Yeah.
felt that her life was at risk.
So, at any rate, what did they do with these people? They decided that the military personnel could sleep in the parking garages on the concrete floors with one bathroom per building. I mean, well, I guess
Who decided this?
females. Well, the office of the new president.
The office of the president
Of the new president.
elected.
So we have all of these men that are out there all day long. I mean, you've been in parking garages.
Yeah, I don't frequent them, but yes, I
they hang
I've been
around.
to,
That's
I've been to one.
that's where he
or two.
lives. And at any rate, they only had one restaurant. Well, if you had female soldiers, of course, they would probably have one.
So
and
so
then-
they bring in tens of thousands of troops, and there's no way to accommodate them
Yeah,
for sleeping.
right. So guess what
That's-
President
that's-
Trump did?
I bet he did something great.
He did something that showed once again what a kind man he is, even though they keep telling us he's a terrible man. What do you think it was, Ray?
He brought him another porta potty.
No, he put them in the Trump Hotel, Washington, D.C., as many as he could get in there. They slept in the lobby, they slept in the hallways. Many of them, I guess the officers got rooms.
I can't even fathom that you bring in 70,000 troops or 635 or whatever it is, tens of thousands of troops, but yet you don't think about how they're going to be eating and sleeping and being taken care of and restroom facility. You don't think about any of this stuff?
That's how much Democrats
absurd.
don't pay attention to details.
It's absurd.
I mean, that's the supply lines. How do you feed 30,000 troops?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
And how do you
this,
bed
this
them
is
down?
This is a big operation.
And toiletries and everything else. I mean, here
And
again.
what do you expect? These people, they're National Guard. They're not on deployment. They're
Last
our
week
neighbors.
Last week they were accountants and welders and everything else, and now
Yes.
this week they're sleeping in a parking garage
on the concrete floor.
on a concrete floor. Thank you, Democrats. Thank you, President Biden. You're such a sweet man. Any rate, we can go from there. I didn't like that at all. So he treats them like, what? Okay, now the other thing, I don't know. Have you been deprogrammed yet?
I haven't. I have not been officially deprogrammed.
When are you scheduled to be deprogrammed?
Well, I think it's watching Decades on TV,
No,
where you get a chance to watch the TV shows from the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
That'll deprogram you.
Mr. O'Connor, skip the next break. We're going to cut out of here a little early tonight because of all of our guests are gone. So we're going to move.
Well, they're
right
not
through.
gone. They're in transit.
Yeah, they're still skiing down that hill, and it's tough to ski at night. I hope they have miner's headlight on.
That's right. That's right.
At any rate, this is another thing, ladies and gentlemen. You can always tell a Democrat because they always go overboard with reaction to anything. Now, what they have decided to do is anybody that supported Trump obviously needs to be re-educated.
Here's what I don't understand. We live in a free country. We have free speech. I can have a different opinion than you. It's okay.
It is.
Let's sit around. Let's discuss it. Let's have wonderful meeting of the minds. Iron sharpens iron. What am I not understanding?
I don't know, but they want to. They're actually passing bills in the Congress.
I don't care what Katie Couric says. I don't care what she says. To be honest,
To re-educate
she can say
us.
whatever. Re-educate for what? Because I have my own mind and I have my own thoughts and my own ideas.
You're not allowed to do that.
What do you mean I'm not? I'm an American.
Oh, come on.
I stand on the
You
Constitution.
don't stand on it. Honor it.
I stand on the foundation of the Constitution.
Okay, so at any rate,
And if you don't like it, as far as I'm concerned, go live in another country. Because I've been to those countries.
I know you have.
And you can do whatever you want over there. Oh, maybe not.
until they lock
Maybe
you
not.
up for doing
That's
whatever.
right. That's
So,
right.
so ladies and gentlemen, once again, Democrats overreact. They always overreact. Are any of you that out there that voted for Biden, are you having Biden remorse? Have the play on words. You get it? Biden remorse instead of
It is.
buyer's
Now,
remorse.
what is James T. Harris? What does he say? He doesn't call him president. He calls him President Asterix.
I don't know.
That's what he calls. You haven't heard the show?
I listened to him. I don't remember that.
Yeah, he calls him President Asterix.
So, at any rate, I have not been I haven't been re-educated, and I don't think Mr. O'Connor's been
It's
re-educated.
like 1984. If they start brainwashing
Matter of
us,
fact, I'm not even sure Mr. O'Connor's been educated, let alone re-educated. Is that right,
hey, you
Mr.
have to
O'Connor?
start the education process first before you can be re-educated.
There you go.
It just sounds like brainwashing, doesn't it?
Hey, and I don't know if you heard the news today, but did you know that Dr. Fauci is the highest paid federal employee? He makes more than the President of the United States.
Dr. Fauci does.
Dr. Fauci, he makes $417,000 a year.
And
Fauci.
for what? For what,
Well,
actually?
because he came out with some wisdom today. He said, you're right, folks. A mask does not work. So now he is
Wait, hold on. He said that a mask doesn't work because that's at the very beginning. It was
He
mask
said don't
doesn't
work.
work, and then he said the mask does work.
Yep.
Now he says the mask doesn't work.
Yes. But 2 masks work. If you wear 2 of them at a time, they'll work.
Wait, hold on. So it's not intrusive enough to wear one mask where you can't breathe fresh air and it's across your face and you can't really tell if somebody's smiling or not. That's not intrusive enough.
Right.
We have to double bag it.
You have to wear it. Well, you don't have to. Still, the President of the United States is now saying that he's going to make everybody have to wear a mask.
Hey,
or 2.
Listen, if two
masks.
if 2 is good, then 3
3
must
is
be
better.
great. And if we do 4, then man, we have solved
we'll just-
all the world's
We'll
problems.
just die of lack of oxygen, but not for COVID. But they might put that on your death certificate. Died of COVID.
How absurd! How absurd!
I couldn't believe that when I read that Fauci says.
And he's getting how
we're
much
gonna-
money to say this?
Well, here, let's do it exactly. $417,608 a year.
I want that $8.
Yeah,
I want my $8.
I'll go further left on that. I want the 400.
Oh my gosh!
Any rate, how many of you remember Kofifi?
Kofi-
Remember Kofifi?
Was that a dancing girl back in the 40s?
I thought it was. With the little pom poms and
Yes,
everything.
Kofifi.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Or a French poodle.
Yeah, and the president actually tweeted that out one night. He must have fallen asleep while he was tweeting, and he used the word Kofifi, and of course that drove the Democrats crazy.
And what did he actually mean?
Nobody knew, but it was a funny thing. So Ray, we got so many entrepreneurs in America, and they really are. They're really thoughtful. They come up with great ideas, and somebody came up with a coffee company. Coffee, not Kofifi It's coffee. Drink coffee, that kind of coffee.
But it's called Kofifi.
And that's the name of the company, Kofifi Coffee. So.
Oh, you know what?
I saw an advertisement for it.
It was such a solemn day today. Very, very sad.
Wait, because of the rain?
No. Because the House members walked the articles of impeachment, and they walked it very solemnly down the hallway. Of course, getting selfies, yeah. And I think that we're playing the Stormtrooper song from Star Wars.
From Star Wars. Dum, 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 dum.
So as they walked it over, and then I guess there's a secret knock on the Senate door.
Well, that's so that the president's people can't sneak in. You gotta.
Is that?
I recorded that, so it's not secret anymore.
Okay.
Did you record the?
Okay, he recorded that, so
we'll-
now you know
we'll
how to
play
get
that.
into the Senate.
So very
the Senate
solemn,
floor.
and I can remember in reading the Constitution where the only way that you can remove a president from office is to impeach him and then convict him.
Yes.
And this is the first time in history, that they're trying to remove a president who no longer has that.
So you're trying to
that
remove.
position.
Let me get this straight, Ray. You're trying to remove a president from his office that no longer holds the office. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. And Chief Justice Roberts, Supreme Court Judge, Chief Justice.
And he's supposed to. He's supposed to convene.
He's supposed to
this-
preside
Yeah.
over this impeachment, and he said,
No thanks.
I'm not going to be there.
Why?
Well, because it's unconstitutional. It's
That's a good reason
unconstitutional.
why.
I remember, was it Oliver Cromwell?
Yeah.
That after he was dead and buried, that they exhumed his body so that they could execute him? Do you remember this historically?
I don't. What? So they could hang him?
So they could chop his head off and put it out on display.
Ooh.
He was already dead, but they had to execute him.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
So hold on. So I want to know how this affects the office of the former president. The office of the former president. How does that affect him?
well,
And
since
how
it's-
solemn can it be?
Well,
First of
my
all,
question, Ray, is
people in Congress, please understand, we're watching you and we're smart. And we know that what you're doing is stupid. Stop doing it and take care of the people's business.
and much of it is on the left side of the aisle, meaning it was the Democrats.
And do you know who
Once
they
again,
chose?
I saw that. Oh my God.
Swalwell. He is going to be one of the prosecutors. Swalwell. Now, for those of you who don't know, he's from California, and
That
he
says a
happened
lot
to
in
be
its own
sleeping
right.
with Fang Fang,
Right.
who is a Chinese spy.
He's having an affair with a Chinese spy, and he's in the Intelligence Committee of the United States government only because it's run by Democrats now. This doesn't make sense.
It's unbelievable. He thought that she worked at a dentist office, hence the name Fang Fang. Oh man, seriously.
She worked for Soupy
this is
Sales.
also the guy who broke wind during
during an
a
interview.
conference. Yeah. That's
No,
how classy.
I thought he worked for Soupy Sales. Wasn't that Soupy Sales buddy was White Fang?
This is my doggy White Fang, the biggest and meanest dog.
Yeah, blah, 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 I'm White Fang. Blah.
Oh, well, you're dating yourself on that
Oh,
one.
yeah.
I don't
I watch a
remember that.
rerun.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Really? Seriously. Whoever is electing these people to office, really, you need to have your head examined. To go through this process. Do you know whose money they're spending right now? They're spending your money. They're spending my money. They're spending taxpayer
They're not spending
money.
my money. I don't have any.
Well, yeah, because you've given it all to the government.
Because they're doing stupid things with what I did have.
Listen, it is not their responsibility to impeach somebody who is already out of office.
Already impeached. They're
Why
already
are
gone.
they're creating these illusions that they can actually do something? Please stick with the people's business. Please.
Yeah, this is stupid, folks. And these people, I can't believe that you find that many stupid people, and they're all congregated in Congress.
Well, stupid is as stupid,
Stupid does.
Oh.
Okay, right here.
Oh, you got a piece of paper.
I got. How many of you know? I didn't watch the Biden be sworn in. Did you?
I was swearing the whole time.
I
don't swear.
I just turned it off. I would not watch this debacle. The guy was, in my opinion, he's not a legitimate president because I don't think he got the necessary votes. But that's
Well, we'll
neither
find
here nor
out
there.
soon here in Arizona.
And we're gonna talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
But here's what he was sworn in. Here's what he said. He put his hand on the Bible and he says,
And this was a Bible, actually, that has been in the family so long. I think this Bible was given to him by Moses.
I thought it was George Washington. I don't know. At any rate, he says, here now, we're going to go through this. Pay very close attention because it was specially written for Biden because he's got some problems. And
Cognitive?
dementia, and he cannot say. So here's what he would say. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will do the best to my ability to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help me God.
That's what he was supposed to say.
No, that's what he did say.
Okay.
That's what they said. That's
Okay.
what they had written for him. Here's what he should have said. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States. Now, that's what he did say up to that point. Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
So he didn't say that
He
part.
didn't say that. And then that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. Okay, that was all left out. Now here's what he did go back. And that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office to which I am about to enter.
And
So
he
help
didn't-
me God.
and he didn't say that either.
No, he didn't say against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Well, and he didn't say this.
Right. Right. So he
But I
didn't
will
even
well
take
and
he didn't even
faithful.
take the oath of office properly. And remember, Donald Trump was sworn to. We have a lot of domestic enemies, as you know. So, at any rate, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I don't know what's going on, but it's tomfoolery. This is a joke, ladies and gentlemen.
Was it Roberts feeding him the lines?
Yeah.
So he left that out.
Well, he told them what they were going. His staff told him what they were going to say, and they wrote it for Roberts to say, and then he repeated after Roberts. But the real is, I will protect against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And if you're a serviceman in the when I say service, in the service of the United States, let's put it that way, because there are a lot of women that think, hoorah. There were a lot of women that actually have served as well, and are serving, and they're wonderful, wonderful defenders of our nation and our Constitution.
Yes.
And they take that same oath, virtually the same, against all enemies, foreign and domestic. But this guy is the President of the United States, and he did not take the oath for that purpose of all enemies, foreign and domestic. Very, very sad. And at any rate, I wanted to. We're going to get into this other thing because this is really important. But I wanted to. No, I look at the clock, and one of our guests tonight was going to be Dr. Rapaki. He's up out of Prescott, Arizona, which is a beautiful city, but it's up in the mountains. And he comes the back road down the Wickenburg Road. You know that road.
I do.
That is not one you want to be coming down when it's
No,
snowy
that's
or
through,
icy.
what, Peoples Valley and
Yeah,
that area?
yeah.
Very pretty,
Because once
beautiful
you
drive.
start coming down into the valley, whoa! It's if it's dangerous enough when it's dry, but when you're trying to do that with wet, sticky snow. Yeah. So, at any rate, I talked to him today. We did report last week that Senator Eddie Farnsworth, that we had some kind of an arrangement with the Board of Supervisors here in Maricopa County. That wasn't true necessarily. Everybody thought it was. It was all reported. But this one says, the Senate announces election audit agreement, but Maricopa County says there is not an agreement.
No, when you say Maricopa County, you mean the
Board of Supervisors. Yes.
They said that there is not an agreement?
There is not an agreement.
I thought that they acknowledged that the legislature was supreme over them.
Well, they did. But that doesn't mean they're still involved in some of these things that they want to determine the samples that are chosen. They want to determine the company that will be the ones that do the auditing and so forth and so on. That's just not going to happen. It can't happen. This is totally out of their hands.
What gives them any rights to tell the state legislature, this is how we're going to do this?
They have none, but they have assumed those rights. And even Steve Chukri believes, and I'm a fan of Chukri, and he voted. He was the sole vote to say let's do the audit, but he also was a vote to put this into litigation. It's not litigable. They can't be. I mean, because they have the authority. They're the plenary authority. You take it, okay? Plenary meaning they are the ultimate authority.
The final authority.
Yeah, final authority on this. So when I talk to Rapaki, I'm not going to give anything away because I don't know some of the details. But I do understand that they do have evidence now that there was some irregularities, and that those irregularities probably most likely came from foreign countries. Now, what that does, ladies and gentlemen, in effect, when a foreign country interferes in our internal affairs, that creates a constitutional crisis if you do not take action. This president cannot take action because of what we said in the prior. He did not take the oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
But our former president did, and not only did he do that, but in 2018 he had an executive order that said that if there were any foreign countries that were involved, that he would confiscate their machines. He would go in and basically take every bit of information they had, which I think he did.
Yes. Now, here's the thing here. Arizona, in my opinion, we talked about this last week. We are the leader here. I mean, other states have just kind of flailed and did nothing. I think we're going to get something done here. I'm hoping that we get something done. Now, once we do that, and we find, there was only about 11,000 difference, and once we say, hey, wait, this is a mess. There are irregularities. We don't know who won. We can't know where those votes came from. I mean, phony votes are phony votes. You don't know which ones are phony and which one. So then it destroys that. So Arizona now is pulling back and saying our votes can count one way or the other. Mm-hmm. Now we have a constitutional crisis on our hands. And other states then hopefully will do the same thing and start looking at this and say, we can't have our votes certified either.
Now, do you believe that the Supreme Court is going to then jump in and start hearing some of these cases that are coming up? Because, I heard a back and forth between Senator Rand Paul and George Stephanopoulos over the weekend. And George Stephanopoulos was very adamant, stating that There's no evidence of any of this. It's been fully investigated. And Senator Paul said, no, nothing was ever investigated. It was never brought to the court. None of this ever was able to have evidence be even brought out in front of anybody. And Stephanopoulos was so adamant about, no, you're lying about this. The president was lying about this. Now, if all of this starts coming out,
as a
force...
former auditor, I'm going to tell you this. Okay. You do not do an audit because you have proof of wrongdoing. Audits are done for compliance to prove that you have done the right thing. And herein lies the thing that the Stephanopoulos and the Democrats are arguing. Well, you haven't come up with any proof. Well, no, you don't get the proof till you audit. You either did it right or you did it wrong. That's where the evidence comes in. And see, they're playing this little game again. Once again, they're playing the game. Well, you don't have any evidence that there was wrongdoing.
Is that the chicken or the egg?
It is.
Yeah.
It's exactly the chicken or the egg. No, we do an audit to see if all of the rules were adhered to.
Well, we know for sure in Pennsylvania that the Secretary of State changed the rules, which were totally unconstitutional. The rules right prior. We know the same thing happened in, I believe, Michigan and Wisconsin and everything else. All the discrepancies that normally would have come about didn't, and they were not consistent with all of the other elections that they had. So there was a lot of things going on, a lot of things.
Leave us on for a few more minutes, Mike. Okay. You're 100% right. They changed the rules. And they took it through the courts, and the courts said it was okay. You can't change the rules before. It's ex post facto laws. Right. After the fact, you cannot change the rules. Now, we have other things here. Let's go to the state of Georgia. Did you know that Georgia used 100% of that election? Those two elections that they had were with Dominion equipment. 100%. There was no other equipment used in those elections. Now, let's go back. You can go back to, you got Pennsylvania. Those votes have to be taken out. You can't give them to anybody because you don't know. Arizona, taken out. Georgia, in my opinion, we're going to have somebody in here soon that's going to even say that they believe the same thing happened in New Mexico, which probably doesn't matter a great deal because I think they only have 3 or 4 electoral votes. But it's not going to be a major thing. But it only takes one vote below 270 to say we don't have a winner.
Right.
If we don't have a winner, what do you do? Does the Constitution deal with these issues? I don't know.
They do.
Well, I don't know. It sends it back to the states for their legislatures.
That's right. For one vote per.
But I mean, in terms of who's, if you say, well, Biden, you can't be in there because you didn't get 270. Trump, you didn't get in there because you didn't get 270. Then who becomes, I think it's the Speaker of the House temporarily.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so think about it. Why is the House presenting articles of impeachment to the Senate for them to have a big case to decide whether or not President Trump could hold office in the future? Why would they be going through this exercise if they didn't think that it was a possibility that there were enough discrepancies, enough inconsistencies, and I won't even say the F word, not the swear word, but the other one, that would warrant a relook.
That's FR, not FU.
Yeah, that would warrant a relook or an audit. But we want to make sure that if we have this unique opportunity here in Arizona, let's make sure that it's audited right. Let's have multiple companies look at it. I understand that there's people who are willing to do it for free. And if there's any cyber crimes that could have been, I guess, portrayed during this whole incident, and if there was foreign intervention, let's find out all about that at the same time.
I think what I've suspected, I think we're going to find is true, that the Board of Supervisors negligence on their part. They You know, Texas would not use Dominion equipment, but they used it only in Maricopa County. Because who did we have in Maricopa County that we know that was jacking around, so to speak?
AF.
Hmm?
AF.
AF?
Adrian Fontes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I finally got it. I was thinking Air Force. No, Adrian Fontes. We already know that, ladies and gentlemen, that this man was as sneaky as can
he
be.
did everything according to the book.
Yeah, but
unfortunately, it was somebody else's.
else's book.
Yeah, so.
And so they let a committee decide rather than them to go through this personally and have the information. You know, everybody knew that Texas didn't use Dominion equipment because it was so easy to hack into. And yet they approved it.
It's been demonstrated over and over and over again how easy it is to hack into the system. And if you go online, all those votes could be sent out to a foreign country, which some people are saying did happen here in the U.S.
Yes.
But we're going to find that out here in Arizona.
Well, I'm hoping so. Now, you did say something, where people willing to do this for free, and you're right, but that they will not be the ones chosen. I was already told
I
that.
say that if there's 5 people or 5 organizations that want to do an audit, let them all do it. Let's have some citizen oversight on this as well.
But here's the 10 things that the county, we won't go through them, but the 10 things that the county is saying that all of those things have to be abided by. And I put on some of them yes, but then I put no. The random sample. No, I don't think we need samples. We need the entire process. Every vote needs to be recounted through the same equipment, through the same programs, and they're going to have this same problem that we have before. If you do a random sample, random samples are good, but we're dealing with the future of the United States and probably the future of the world here. So samples aren't appropriate anymore.
We should not be the laughingstock of the world. We should be able to confidently go back in time and properly audit these machines to say, look, we did everything on the up and up. We did everything according to the book, and we are so confident that we did it correctly that we're willing to show you we did it correctly.
And
no lawyering up anymore.
And there's one other thing here that I wanted to talk about, and I found it so ironic because, first of all, you and I, we love history. You've traveled the world, and I love world history. I've traveled to Flagstaff. No, I've traveled a few places, but at any rate, bottom line here, ladies and gentlemen, is this. We have had some of the social media companies, and I won't go into it. We won't even argue the point. They have shut down a lot of speech in this country. They've shut down a lot of speech in the world if your speech was deemed inappropriate by their fact checkers, and we don't know who they are. And I found it rather interesting when they started shutting down and people started screaming about free speech, Ray. And the person that came to the forefront and said something about it was Angela Merkel. She's the Chancellor of Germany. And if there's anybody that understands what happens when you disallow free speech, it ought to be the Germans.
Yeah.
They did it twice. WW1, WW2,
yeah,
where they were not allowed speech. And so...
No, it's a pillar. It's a pillar that we cannot lose. We can't let that topple.
Yep. And there it is. Now, we're going to end here in just a minute, Mr. O'Connor, if you'd take us out. But let me, just before we do that, Ray, you and I can make a final statement.
Okay.
The snow has kind of crippled us up tonight, and I know that the two parties we were going to have here live up in the mountains, so I think that's one reason they're not here.
But I bet they're listening.
I'm sure they are.
They are.
But snow in Arizona doesn't last very long, at least down here. It does in the mountains, but the roads they clear them up pretty. But they will not close, or they will not clear the roads as long as it's snowing.
Unless it's COVID snow.
COVID snow, yep. So what they'll do is if it's still snowing, they won't plow them. But once it stops, and we are not known for 5-day storms here, just a day or so. And so tomorrow, I'm assuming they're going to clean the roads, and I know these people will be down tomorrow. And I've already asked Dr. Rapaki if he'd be on our Wednesday night Fighting Back show, and he said he would like to do that if it's at all, if things work out the way. We need to get to the bottom of this, and we need to start this process. And if what he's telling me is true, and we have some irregularities that were caused by foreign intervention in the United States, we have a constitutional crisis on our hands. We cannot allow other countries to determine our leadership.
Not at all.
And so, Mr. O'Connor, we'd like to thank him. There he goes. We'd like to thank Mr. O'Connor. And
now, does he need to drive up to the snow tonight?
Yeah, he's going to bring the water skis up there to him. At any rate, and we'd like to wish Neil a quick recovery. He did indicate he'd probably be out.
Yeah,
for
Neil, we hope the rash is a lot better.
Another 2 weeks, he thought, before he's back, and so.
Is that what he said? Another 2 weeks?
2 weeks. So
wow.
we're praying for you. We'd like to thank you all for tuning in on this rainy, snowy, haily.
And don't forget to join us here on Wednesday
for
Fighting Back.
Fighting Back. You got it. So we're going to give you more information, and we like to lead the nation here from Arizona.
Oh, and you know what? A special tribute to Larry King.
Oh, yes. He just passed away this past week.
Yeah, he did a lot of great things.
And so, by the way, so did Hank Aaron, a baseball star.
Hank Aaron, yeah.
2 weeks after he took the COVID vaccine, he died.
Is that right?
He did.
Wow.
Yeah. So we'll see you all Wednesday night. Thank you for joining us.